All right, let's jump straight into this. Today's explainer covers a saga that starts out feeling like your typical virtual reality adventure, but quickly demands that we just sit back and let the main character completely cook. We're talking about a hyper-realistic VR MMO, but with a massive, mind-bending twist. The stakes here are literal life and death. So let's unpack this explosive story of betrayal, traveling back in time, and absolute, undisputed dominance.
So imagine plugging into your cutting-edge VR capsule, thinking you're just playing a game to pass the time. Well, what nobody knows is that this game is actually a gate connecting to real, breathing parallel worlds. You know every NPC getting cut down? Yeah, that is happening for real. And the absolute strongest entity tearing through these worlds, that's our protagonist, a solo ranker named Rokon. People literally call him the king of violence. The guy has no guild, no team, just a terrifying reputation for taking on 50 to 100 players all by himself. He treats everyone around him like meaningless pixels. Well, at least until he faces the ultimate betrayal.
Now you know being that overpowered puts a huge target on your back. Rokon's solo dominance attracts the attention of Odin, the leader of the top guild in the game, Ragnarok. Odin crafts just the dirtiest trap imaginable. He gathers 300 overpowered players, and they just dump every top-tier item and skill onto Rokon all at once. Rokon is sitting there at 2% HP, completely surrounded. And they don't just kill him once, they kill him 8 times in a row. Every single death strips away his levels until the King of Violence is literally deleted from the rankings. When Odin pretends to pity him and offers him a spot in the guild, Rokon just laughs in his face and promises to destroy him.
He goes to sleep utterly defeated, but then he wakes up and his VR capsule is missing. His friend tells him it's 2021. The game hasn't even launched yet. After literally screaming Odin's name in the street and running face first into a pole just to make sure he's not dreaming, Rokon accepts his new reality. And honestly, this is exactly why he was ranked #1. There's no crying, no existential crisis. He immediately walks right into a gym and starts brutally polishing his real-world martial arts. He knows that when the game eventually launches, true control over your physical body is the only thing that will separate the survivors from the dead.
Section 1. The King of Violence returns.
So a month goes by, the game finally launches, and Rokon is more than ready. While the game actively tells new players to just flee the starting village from a goblin attack, Rokon uses his future knowledge. He knows the hidden condition here is to wipe them out perfectly. When he's faced with an impossible level 15 goblin boss, he doesn't just run up and swing his axe. Oh no, he baits the boss into a house, pops a fire-resistant scroll so he can survive the flames, and then throws his axe to knock down a structural support beam. He literally crushes the boss using the environment. It is just a flawless, ruthless strategy.
Because he completely defies the game's logic, Rokon starts stacking up these impossible titles right out of the gate. We're talking Descendant of David, 17-1, Nothing is Impossible, Natural Fighter. What you should really take away from this is how the RPG mechanics basically bend to his will. Even though he's technically at a super low level and he actually resets back to level 1 later when he claims his class, these early title boosts push his base stats to match someone above level 50. He's essentially a walking cheat code, powered entirely by his memories and raw skill.
And this all culminates in his crazy battle with the Orc Chief to secure the high-risk, high-reward Berserker class. He pushes his stats to the absolute limit, activates his Berserker state for massive damage, but then the Orc Chief shatters his weapon. Rokon is knocked all the way down to critical HP. But get this, that is exactly what he wants. Falling to the very edge of a game over triggers his epic passive skill, Unbreakable Resolve. It grants him a massive 50% stat boost right before death. With only 30 seconds of Berserker madness left on the clock, he obliterates the Chief and gains 20 levels almost instantly.
Section 2. War Against the Guilds.
Naturally, Rokon's explosive growth makes him a massive target, which brings us to a truly cinematic clash. This ruthless player-killer faction known as the Blood Hunters tries to ambush him. They think they have the numbers advantage, but Rokon is just a monster. He utilizes a rare stealth cloak, untouchable martial arts speed, and pure environmental destruction. He even uses the hunters themselves as human shields against their own mages' fireballs. It's wild. He annihilates 100 players completely solo, earning this crazy anti-PK title and humiliating them in the process.
But hey, physical threats aren't the only battles here. Rokon is targeted by Pyrrha, the leader of the MP Guild, who, fun fact, also happens to be Rokon's ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. Pura tries to ruin Rokon with a smear campaign, heavily editing videos to make Rokon look like a cheating hacker. But Rokon is always 5 steps ahead. In reality, he's been recording everything. He drops a viral video exposing Pura's secret alliances with those player killers. And on top of that, Rokon uses his immense in-game wealth to buy up all the guild housing, driving the MP Guild into absolute bankruptcy and despair. Just brilliant.
However, Rokan's past is quickly catching up to him. He ends up facing a hidden-class shadow mage named Cabal, but Rokan recognizes his fighting style almost immediately. This is actually Nidhogg, a future elite member of Odin's Ragnarok guild. Finally, Rokan has a direct link to his ultimate revenge. But man, Cabal is terrifying. He uses an arena made entirely of shadows to predict Rokan's every single move.
The tension in this fight is just incredible. Rokon gets hit by a shadow dragon and is inflicted with this sacred paralysis poison that is rapidly draining his life. He is quite literally inches from death, with only 20 seconds left on his berserker buff. With just 10 seconds on the clock, Rokon desperately pops a magical lightning orb to blind and stun Cabal, and with exactly 5 seconds remaining before his heart gives out from the massive adrenaline crash, Rokon splits Cabal in half. It is a razor-thin victory that pushes him to his absolute physical limits.
Section 3. The Central Continent Awakens. So, to even survive the Central Continent, Rokan takes on a grueling skill called the Dual Hearts. A literal second heart is magically pierced right into his chest. The physical toll on his real-world body is excruciating since the pain in this game is hyper-realistic. But the payoff? Oh, it's a permanent 200% strength boost and an added 300 stamina. He basically translates RPG mechanics into a perpetual, uncontrollable adrenaline rush that turns him into a walking weapon of mass destruction. So when arrogant factions like the Hellhound Guild think they can just stroll in and claim the Central Continent first, they are in for a very rude awakening. Rokan gives them a proper welcome. Using his explosive bombardier skills and this crazy paralyzing berserker roar, he completely decimates their elite squads single-handedly. He quickly asserts himself as the absolute apex predator of the entire continent. Section 4. Secrets of the Karas Empire. As he pushes forward, Rokan captures an undead city, earning the Tyrant title, and unlocks this massive ancient pyramid hidden in the desert. Deep inside, he meets Rufi, a mummy girl, who reveals the tragic history of the Karas Empire. She tells him all about King Scorpion, this ancient hero who fought monsters alongside a brave eagle and a swift serpent to save humanity. It's some really deep lore. But there's a really tragic twist here. That heroic savior? Yeah, he fell into total madness. King Scorpion became the corrupted Emperor Scorpion, a mad tyrant who started sacrificing his own people to a corrupted game spirit. And this is exactly where the stakes reach a boiling point. Rokan finds himself trapped inside this dungeon. The logout button is completely disabled. He is locked in a fight to the death with the massive Emperor Scorpion, and if he dies here, it might just be permanent. It takes absolutely everything he has. Rokan's victory relies on his future knowledge, the raw power of his dual hearts, his berserker state, and tragically, Rufi's ultimate sacrifice. In a breathtaking cinematic climax, Rufi gives up her own existence, turning into pure energy to revive the stolen lives of her people. The Emperor is defeated, the people are finally saved, but then Rokan's body suddenly begins to fade away into light.
Section 5. A Semi-Divine Awakening.
Rokan's consciousness is forcefully ejected from the game. He wakes up, totally dazed, his head pounding, and his VR capsule is ripped open. But he's not alone. There are mysterious, heavily armed agents standing right inside his real-world apartment, and a woman looks down at him and simply says, "You are finally awake, Loken." The mind-bending twist is finally revealed. The game? It isn't a game. It is a dimensional rift. The agents have been monitoring him because everything he did in that virtual world was actually real.
This just changes everything we thought we knew about this story. By forging a contract with Rufi and saving those people, Rokan achieved what's called a semi-divine state. This transcendent condition means his avatar's powers are no longer confined to the VR capsule. I mean, imagine waking up in your actual bed with your max-level gaming stats. His monstrous strength, his dual hearts, his berserker rage, they've all crossed over. He is now a literal superhuman in the real world, and these agents are officially drafting him as a ranker to fight dimensional threats right here on Earth.
And that brings us to the ultimate question. Rokan used his future knowledge to conquer the virtual past. He crushed the guilds, he destroyed the corrupted emperor, and he reclaimed his rightful title as the king of violence. But now that the line between the game and reality has been completely erased, is he ready for a real-world war?
The game was just the tutorial. Now, the real fight begins. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I highly recommend you check out the source material if you want to see exactly how Roken unleashes his new reality-breaking powers.